Welcome back to Parents versus Gaming. This is episode 58. I'm Kia, joined by my other host, James. And what is our topic today, James?
Today, that was the fastest intro ever.
I know. You like that?
Adley, do you think we should? Do you think we should make her do it again? We should
I'm the
start
oldest
over.
of 5 kids, okay? Things gotta get done fast, all right?
We have to try stretch this episode out. And you're over there like, welcome to Parents vs. Gaming. This is episode 58. Here's James, my co-host. I'm Kia.
I'm
James, what's our
Leave
topic
me alone.
today? 15 seconds in, and we're in a short topic this week, and you are.
And I'm just like, hey, let's go.
You're ready to end the episode before it starts. It's.
Listen here. All right,
you didn't tell anyone where they could find you, where they
all
could
right,
see
you know
our
what?
live stream if they wanted to watch live. I mean,
so picky. He wants me to do the intro. He's over here like, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that.
Adzi, you're in chat right now. Did you not hear me say, don't forget to introduce us, where they can find us, all the different things? And Kia says, yeah, no problem. Let's go. I'm ready. That was the answer. 11-second intro. And 9 seconds of that was the transition of the screen. Like, she's laughing and screaming so hard, I think her own microphone is cutting her out for like the overextension. I don't even think she's actually muting herself right now.
Stop it. No, I'm not. I haven't muted myself at all.
Because you're yipping so loud in laughter that your mic was like, we can't have this.
I'm sorry.
If you're watching on YouTube,
I'm efficient. Leave me alone.
You are seeing this. If you are listening to audio and you want to see what's going on with Kia, we need your help. Join her live stream or just go on YouTube to poke a little bit of fun.
Send help.
So where can they find us, Kia?
Okay. I can't.
All right. Look us up.
Our live episodes are streamed once a month on Twitch, my Twitch channel, which is Kia Kane 0801. You can find us on Twitch. Like I said, we stream them once a month. Live stream once a month, and then you can find us any other time during YouTube and any other of the audios. I don't know what all the audios are. What are
all
they?
Of
I know
them.
there's Apple Podcasts,
everything.
Google.
Just say all of them. Anything you get audio podcasts from, it can be there. You can also find
these things, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and our Facebook page.
Yes.
All under Parents vs. Gaming.
All of our socials.
So very simple. So we would love for you to join in, give us some topics in the future, some things you want to learn. But today's topic, to try to help out some parents, because kids be saying some crazy stuff. I know, I'm pretty sure our parents, when we were younger, probably thought that we were saying crazy things. People from all over the world, there's crazy different things being said out there, but the gaming lingo definitely has some weird things about it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what your kid is talking about, you could, one, that maybe they're being hateful, but two, maybe you don't even understand they're being hateful, or they're saying words that you think they're being dirty, but they're not being dirty. It's a very common word. So our goal today is to jump over here, and if you're on YouTube, follow along and see what we're looking at. And of course, chat is going to give us maybe some other words that we miss as we get through this. But it's why parents of gamers should know a little gaming lingo. So it really is about just understanding what your kids are saying and not panicking and thinking they're horrible. So Kia, we're going to go over the first one here. Grinding.
Yes.
Grinding. Games in which... So here's what grinding means. You're going to hear grinding a lot, especially in games that they've got to put a lot of time into, whether it be if they're a little bit older, they're playing Call of Duty, whether they're playing Minecraft as a little kid. You might hear that, or Roblox is another good one. There's a lot of grinding in games like that. Right now it says, grinding games in which you level up require you to gain a certain amount of XP, which stands for experience points, by completing different tasks or missions. As your character's level increases, the amount of XP you need to reach the next level also increases. Grinding is plugging away at a certain element of the game to do so. Kia, do you want to try to explain grinding in a different way?
Okay. Man, I mean, it pretty much says what it is. But say it's that, or it could be maybe you need something like, okay, so say you're playing a survival game that you're requiring, like you require a lot of something. So you're
Yeah.
gonna grind to get that one item. You're gonna keep grinding to get it. So you basically you're gonna be repeating this task over and over and over and over again until you get the amount of whatever it is that you're needing. Say it's in Minecraft and you're trying to get a stack of iron, which in that scenario, a stack is 64, by the way. 64. And so say you're trying to get that. And so you're going to sit there and you're going to grind and you're going to start looking for iron ore all the time. Like it's just constant over and over, which means you're going to be doing a lot of caving. So caving in Minecraft is basically you're just finding a cave and you're going in. Okay. You're just exploring that cave. Um, and you're gonna go in there and you're just repeatedly, just constantly going in that cave, finding iron ore. So basically, you're just trying to get so you're grinding out for one thing specifically.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times people can use it in competitiveness, like with ranked. So there are games out there that have competitive modes that require you to grind to get up to a higher rank or whatever it
Yeah.
is that it is.
Grinding is essentially the thing that games put in that give it replayability or make the gamer want to come back and play it over and
Yes.
over and over. So grinding, if your kids are running around talking about grinding and they're video game players or they're gamers, don't freak out. Your 10-year-old's probably not grinding up on somebody. It's just a video game lingo term. I think
It's
that's a
literally
big
probably
one.
the furthest thing from their mind,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to gaming.
Yeah, I think it's a big one to understand because kid going around.
It really is.
I've been grinding up on this thing all day. Like I can just imagine a
What?
parent that doesn't
Could you imagine a
understand.
parent that doesn't know, like, as a parent, if you didn't know that and you walked by your child's room and you heard that term, you would be like, I'm sorry, excuse me, what? You'd be opening that door like, you've been what now? But yes, Diablo is another game that is very grindy, for levels and stuff like that, for a certain piece of gear too. Like it could be, for Diablo, there are certain things that drop certain types of gear that maybe you're trying to get. You have to grind that one thing to get that specific gear.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what grinding is.
Yeah, that's
That's what it
probably
is.
one of the big ones that you definitely want to understand. Before I go any further, I do want to give a shout out. This is from GameQuitters.com by Cam Adair is the author of this. So GameQuitters.com. We'll have a link in the description, of course, if you want to jump over to this and give them a click. We're going to go into the next term. Again, these are things that can be a little bit weird. This one can definitely get people the wrong way if you don't understand what they're talking about. Clan. If this is your team or the group you associate with, there is always a clan name and a leader or leadership structure, and it's common for there to be a private chat for clan members only. Clan matches pit one clan against the other. That will happen in competitive games. You'll see like two clans going against each other. You might hear your kid talking about, oh, I'm in my clan, and the clan. You're like, are they in a gang? Is my kid a part of a gang? No, they're just part of a group of common-minded people the clan is essentially their team.
Yeah.
Is the way I would look at it. And you could have a clan that's specific to a game. They could have a clan of friends that play multiple games. And like I said, clans that are in particular games that compete against each other.
Yeah. And there's different names too. So not all games use clan though.
Yeah, that's true. That is
So
true.
some games actually do have different terms for that.
Destiny calls it
but
a fire team.
yeah, but you have clans in Destiny.
Oh, you do have clans too. Yeah, I forgot about that.
You do have
Yeah.
clans in Destiny. Um,
Why you gotta call me out like that?
um,
That took you longer to call me out than it did for you to introduce the episode. My goodness.
Oh, but yes, but that's basically what it is it's kind of like their little, and like what's cool about having them being in a clan too is, that means they have multiple people that they can actually reach out to for help too in those games as well. So that's kind of nice. So you just have to, it's nothing serious. They're not in a cult. They're not in a gang or anything. It's basically just, and a lot of clans have rules too.
Yeah.
to kind of help keep it safe for people as well. So, and a lot of times they'll have rules and
And
they'll
they're
have,
self-imposed. So the
yeah,
clan comes up with the rules.
yes, the clan comes up with the rules. And if somebody violates those rules, a lot of times clans have things in place that are like, okay, well, you have so many strikes or whatever before we will kick you out. And some people they'll just be like, okay, you strike one, you're out. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
actually.
They kick you out. So it just really depends on how strict they are and what they want. But a lot of clans out there they're most of them are pretty decent. Sometimes you'll run into those ones that are a little on the toxic side, but most of them are pretty decent.
All right, Kia, we're gonna let you read off the next couple, but here's the first one. Very easy. This is a softball right
You
down
want
the
me to
middle
speed
for
read
you.
through it?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm actually, when I read out loud, I'm a lot slower.
You're nervous.
It does. I have a serious problem with reading out loud, which is hilarious considering I do story nights. You should definitely check those ones out because those are fun. That's a lot of me stumbling over
Oh yeah,
words.
absolutely.
Okay, Twitch, the world's leading video platform and community for gamers. More than 45 million gamers stream Twitch games every month. It's the place to go online to watch other gamers play. So if you do hear someone or your child talking about Twitch, that's where we're live at right now. If you're watching this live, you know that we're here on my channel. A lot of people come in because they want to watch other people play either the same game or they find a new game that they want to like check it out before they decide they want to um, get it or ask their parent for it. And then some people, what's really nice though about Twitch is it's not all gamers. There are people out there that also I've watched people that they do sewing. I've seen that. I've
Hot
seen
tubbing.
people. Okay, but we're not talking about that because this is Parents versus Gaming, and we're trying to keep it friendly here, sir.
I'm allowed to make fun of them. But it is true
But
what Kia said. There's a lot of
there
different aspects out there, or
there are a lot of
podcasting.
different aspects to
Yeah.
it. But if you hear someone say, "Oh, this is my favorite Twitch streamer," or "I really are those," like they'll talk about stuff like that because sometimes, um, either your child has ran into them before and they'll be like, "Oh, that person's a Twitch streamer," because a lot of times as Twitch streamers, we tend to have things that kind of point us out and tag us as Twitch streamers. So a lot of times if they've ran into them, or maybe they just enjoy watching their streams for their content or anything else like that. But that's what Twitch is. It's just a platform for people to go watch other people play video games.
Yeah. And you might hear them talk. You might have a Facebook gamer or YouTube gamer as well, which is basically the same thing on those particular platforms. So Twitch is
Yes.
just happens to be the leader when it comes to games. This is a good one for you here, Kia.
MMORPG. Okay, so I will be honest with you guys. For the longest time, I didn't know what that meant, which is hilarious because I love these types of games, but I didn't know what they were. So when people would ask me, do you play these?" I'm like, what is this crazy?
Yeah,
Because you think of
exactly.
it, you sit there and go MMORPG. Why? Like, why? What is this thing? Okay, so MMORPG. This refers to massively multiplayer online role-playing games. Yes, it is a mouthful, and that is why is it they shortened it. And includes games such as World of Warcraft. These games have millions of players and large communities outside of the game in forums and online channels on YouTube and Twitch. Um, Me personally, it's so funny. So, World of Warcraft has been a really big game for a long time. It is also a very grindy game.
Yeah.
I personally have never played it though, but my best friend growing up played it growing up. Like, she played it when it first came out. Her and her mom played this game all the time, grinded it all the time. But I never got into it. I didn't have access to stuff like this when I was a kid. My friend just happened to have, some money and parents that
Yeah.
enjoyed gaming. So, not that I didn't. My dad did. My mom was not a big gamer. Um, but they did, and they had World of Warcraft. So World of Warcraft is definitely one of the you probably a lot of times you'll hear it as WoW. instead of because they
Absolutely.
shortened it. So, but yeah, that's an MMORPG. There's Final Fantasy 14. That's one. There's several out there.
Yeah, there's a Star
I
Wars one,
Yeah, there's a Star
e-
Wars one.
Elder
Um,
Scrolls.
yeah, Elder Scrolls. There's several out there. Um, I actually am not a huge fan of MMORPGs. A lot of it too is because I like story when
Yeah,
it comes to games. And for games like this, they have a story, but it's a very loose story.
yeah,
And I don't necessarily enjoy having to be forced into running certain things. So a lot of these games they kind of like force you into running dungeons or raids, as some of the bigger ones are called. And I don't, when I'm playing a game like this and I'm trying to just chill with the story, I'm not looking to play with a bunch of people
yeah. That's the big key here with
who
the
are doing the same task
MMORPG.
as me.
Yeah, is the massive multiplayer online role playing game. So we'll get into
Yeah.
something else very similar a little bit later as we go through these, and you'll kind of understand the difference. We'll let Kia walk through those, but the next one
Yes.
I'll jump through because it's super easy, and it's FPS. FPS. Now, the more nerdy your kid or a parent could get into gaming, FPS might mean two different things. But for the most part, when it comes to gaming, FPS just refers to first person shooter. So games like, they got that wrong, games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and Counter-Strike. Fortnite is a third person shooter.
Yep.
And that'll kind of help. They don't have that listed here. But basically, you've got first person shooters and third person shooters. And your third person shooter, basically, imagine a camera being right over my back shoulder, and I can see the whole backside of me, and the game is played that way. Well, first person gives you a first person perspective. Obviously, it's pretty common sense there. The only other way you might hear the letters FPS, that would refer to someone very, very techie, and they're talking about their frames per second when it comes to playing a game. But for the most part, you're always going to be hearing this term in a first person shooter setting. So very easy to understand there. That leads us to our next one that I told Kia I would queue up for her. And it's not hard, but that is what, Kia?
RPGs, which are my personal favorite.
No, what's the difference between the MMORPG and an RPG?
Okay, so an RPG is not a massive multiplayer game. It is something that you kind of get to do by yourself. You don't really have to worry about other people being in the game with you, doing your tasks with you, or going along with the story with you. It is literally just you. You are the main character in this game, and you don't have to worry about somebody coming in and interrupting whatever it is that you're doing. So, in a lot of MMORPGs, if someone has the same task as you, a bunch of things will be highlighted in the area, but if someone else has the same task as you and they get to that little highlighted area first, you have to go somewhere else and find it.
Yeah.
Versus in an RPG, it is just you on your task mission to do whatever it is. You can go do it and not be interrupted. And this refers to role-playing games. Type of games like this is like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, just not online because
Mm-hmm.
there are two different Elder Scrolls. Final Fantasy, The Witcher, Dragon Age. There's a slew of RPG games out there. And those, like I said, are my personal favorite. They do have an MMORPG Final Fantasy, and that is Final Fantasy 14. I never could get into it. I tried, and I just couldn't.
You gave it the good college try. I remember.
I did. I really did, and I just couldn't get into it. So I stopped. I stopped playing it. I just couldn't get into it. But I do love all the other I did love all the other I still do. I still love all the other Final Fantasies that are out there that are not like that. Um, so yeah, the that is the difference between an MMO and just a plain regular
Yeah.
RPG. So a lot of times you'll hear people too is they'll say MMO if they and that's when it's
Massive
that. It's just
multiplayer online.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, that's all it is. It's just like a massive online game. And if they add the RPG, then it's more
You're
the
role
Elder
playing
Scrolls
a character.
Online.
Yeah.
And that's like that's when so there is a difference between just an MMO and an MMORPG as well. So
All
if you
right.
hear those.
We got a couple more here. PvP, these games are elements of games that are player versus player. So it's very simple. PvP is just player versus player, whether it be 1v1 or 6v6, whether they're playing something like Call of Duty, Halo, Fortnite. A lot of those games are PvP. You might have MMORPGs where you're all playing together in this massive online game, but you might have a PvP element to the MMORPG. So sometimes a lot of these terms end up getting combined. And Kia, we've got one more, which is my favorite. And this is where a little bit of toxicity can happen if you don't understand what this word is.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Kia, I'll let you read this out.
It is noob.
NOOB.
Yes, this is short for newbie, which refers to a new player who is doing poorly at the game. A noob can also refer to any other player who is playing with cluelessness. It can also just be somebody who's a new player. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad at the game. They just literally started and don't know all the mechanics yet. But this can be described, this can become toxic when people start using it in a kind of like a mean way. I know I personally have I find, and it's actually I do it a lot on Apex, is when we find new players. I call them babies because they're just little babies on the game, and so I feel bad. Granted, I know that on the other end is probably not a baby, but it's usually it refers to somebody of a lower level, like maybe they just started the game. And we've ran into a few people actually who have just started playing Apex, and they're only level 10. And you're like, oh my gosh, this person was a baby. I feel so bad for killing them. Now there's other people who would probably just be like, and use it. But yes, noob is a way of discussing or just saying that that is someone new to the game. And some people can refer to it as someone who's new to the game but playing poorly. And I don't feel like that's very fair because if they're new to the game, they're not going to be fantastic, you know?
Like you said, it can definitely get it can get pretty toxic real quick if someone's using it to put down like, you're such a noob, why are you always a noob?
Yeah.
So maybe they've played the game for hundreds of hours, but they're still getting called a noob. It's because maybe their friends think that they're bad, or they're just trying to put them down, which happens quite a bit.
Yeah. Unfortunately. But, you know, if you hear that term being used, you know what it means. And
now in your chat, before we go, we've got a couple more. I think they're funny. So you might hear your kids do things like, I like to do finishers on them.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be adsy.
What would they be referring to if your kid starts yelling out, I like to do finishers?
Finisher? Okay, so finisher, depending on, well, I mean, in any game, is basically a special way of killing somebody in that game. And each person, each game actually has a variety of different finishers for whatever character, or maybe you unlocked this new one, or whatever it is. And basically, it's just a special way of killing off a person and without using your gun. Okay, so basically, you're just doing it hand-to-hand combat type thing.
Yeah.
And that's
if you're an old school parent that kind of understood video games throughout the 90s as they grew in popularity, Mortal Kombat, I'm pretty sure, was like the first game to start using like, I mean, they were pretty graphic finishers, but
so graphic.
they were funny. But that really kind of set the trend for that happens in a lot of games. It might even be a sports game, could be a finishing move that a guy does on the way to the basket to do a dunk. So I like to do the finisher or something like that. So that's just another term that that's how it is. So that's a little gaming lingo for you parents out there. We hope that helps. We will add more of this in future episodes, and of course we'll do a recap and run through maybe a couple months from now for those that missed this, or they want a little bit more understanding as you dive into some of these games with your kids and see that. So I think that can help.
And another thing is like when you hear your child saying like maybe some of the words that are the things that we've discussed you haven't heard your child say, but you have heard them say other things. If you can always ask them too, like, hey, what does this mean? You know, like you can ask them, and sometimes and a lot of times they'll tell you what it means. And if you don't feel like you can ask them, you can always come to me or James. You can email one of us and actually ask or just make a comment under our YouTube or whatever, and we can actually discuss it with you or tell you what it means. If you don't want to talk or
Yeah,
ask your child
absolutely.
what the word is. But because there are several things out there, there's several gaming lingos that, I mean, there's still some that I'm like, sometimes I hear something I'm like, what?
It always seems like there's a new one being added or something that was
I
popular
know.
that's just
Like, it
trending
really
right at that
does.
time.
It really does. So, just reach out to one of us, or if you don't want to ask your kid, just reach out to one of us and we can probably tell you what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. So that was our final episode, episode 58.
Oh, Easter egg.
Easter. Oh, somebody's in chat.
Easter egg. Yeah, Easter egg is a good one. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, Easter egg can be very confusing as well.
What's an Easter egg?
So an Easter egg is when it leads to something else or can tell you like about a different game that maybe connects to that game that you're playing, or it
Something
could,
hidden throughout the game.
yes, it's something hidden in the game that you have to find, and it can just be of different things. It can even be like a little hint as to what might come, what's going to happen, if there's going to be a different game coming out. Like it's really cool because there's some. I know in Destiny they had one that was a Halo reference,
Yeah, there are lots of
and
Halo
I thought that,
references.
yeah, there's lots of Halo references in Destiny. So there are definitely that's another term. I didn't even think about that, but that's actually a really good one, is Easter egg. Yeah. They're not talking about Easter.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
So
everybody.
yeah.
So that was some gaming lingo for you from James and Kia. Again, you can find us on Kia Kane's Twitch channel once a month live as we record these episodes. Hopefully you like, subscribe, give us some comments on the YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com at parentsvsgaming. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook page, Instagram. And if you have any questions that you'd like to, whether you want to be a part of the show, maybe you want to come on as a guest, maybe you want to dispute something, maybe you want to be a parent, talk a little bit about your experience, maybe another kid that wants to hopefully get their parents into gaming, anything you guys want to know, reach out to us at parentsfirstgaming@gmail.com. My name is James. That's Kia. Thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Bye.